When the sun withdraws and the last beam of light slips between the tree canopies, the forest transforms. Colors slowly fade. The woodland takes on shades of gray and blue. The forest's breathing changes. Night is not absence, it is presence. Presence of mystery, of adaptation, of instinct. While human eyes lose themselves in the dark, creatures awaken. Wildlife, invisible to the daytime gaze, emerges. The air cools. Moisture settles on leaves and stones. With each passing minute, temperature changes behavior. Insects shift their rhythm. Mammals lower their heart rate to conserve energy. Predators warm their bodies with smooth, precise movements. Night has its rules. Light no longer guides. Now it is scent, sound, and touch that lead the steps of the nocturnal inhabitants. Rustles, snaps, whispers of wind through the branches. Each sound is a message. Each shadow a possibility. Night imposes challenges. Vision narrows. Smell and hearing take center stage. Silent predators move among the leaves. Alert prey stop breathing for seconds. The forest at night is a sensitive, interconnected organism. Plants close their pores. Some flowers bloom only under the moonlight. There are fungi that glow in the dark. And trees that use the darkness to communicate through their roots. The apparent silence is a subtle symphony. In this world veiled by darkness, millennia-old evolutionary strategies have shaped the most subtle and fascinating behaviors of the animal kingdom. Some shine. Others camouflage themselves. There are those that sing to mark territory, and those that only listen, waiting for the exact moment to act. This is the realm of eyes that see heat, of paws that make no sound, of invisible flights. This is the stage of silent survival. While humanity sleeps, the forest lights up in another way. Welcome to the forest after sunset. In the dark of the forest, where sight is lost and silence rules, there are living structures that sustain this invisible ecosystem. Centuries-old trees stretch their roots like buried veins, connected to one another by secret networks of fungi, the forest's natural internet. This network, called mycelium, allows the exchange of nutrients, information, and warnings. A silent underground communication that keeps the balance between life and death. This symbiosis is known as mycorrhiza, a relationship between plant roots and soil fungi. The fungi provide phosphorus, nitrogen, and water, while receiving carbohydrates produced by photosynthesis. Recent studies show that trees of different species can share resources through the mycelium. Favoring the growth of seedlings and protecting individuals under stress. It is a cooperative, resilient system, a true collective organism buried beneath the forest. Night is not just an interval between days. For the forest, it is another time, with its own codes. Some plants only breathe at night. Others exhale scents imperceptible during the day, but intense under the night's humidity. Guiding insects, marking presence. There are flowers that open their petals only under the moon, offering nectar in exchange for pollen in rituals that span millennia. The plant's gas exchange, called stomatal transpiration, is controlled by the opening and closing of stomata, tiny structures on the leaves. At night, many species close these pores to avoid water loss, while others adapted to the nocturnal environment do exactly the opposite. They breathe when humidity is higher and the risk of dehydration is lower. Night-blooming flowers have pale petals to reflect moonlight and glands that release specific volatile compounds to attract nocturnal pollinators, such as moths and bats. And there are the decomposers, fungi and bacteria that work when no one else sees. They recycle death into life. They transform fallen leaves, broken branches, motionless bodies into nutrients that will feed the new. They are the hidden gardeners of the forest. Tireless, invisible, essential. Without these unseen agents, the forest would collapse under its own waste. They are the link between what was and what will be. Trees, even when still, feel. They detect changes in temperature, in the air, in the light. They close their stomata, reduce water use. They store energy. They wait. And when the day breaks, they do it all again. But now it is the time of darkness. A time where every leaf is sensitive, every root alert, and every fungus a bridge between worlds. During the night, their roots grow more actively, absorb more water, and interact intensely with the fungi and bacteria in the soil. It is a period of silent reorganization, where the invisible keeps the forest alive. As the roots spread out into the dark of the soil, something watches from above. Night does not belong to a single realm. It is divided between what grows below and what stands guard above. And on the branches farthest from the ground, among leaves that almost touch the sky, another kind of silence lives. The silence that flies. Among the highest branches and the densest shadows, a constant presence of the night dwells, the owl. There are more than 200 known species scattered across the planet. And although each has its own particularities, they all share the same essence. The ability to see where no one else can. Found on every continent except Antarctica, owls range in size from less than 6 inches to species with more than 27 inches in wingspan. They inhabit tropical forests, urban areas, deserts, and mountainous regions. Their adaptability is among the most impressive of nocturnal birds. Their broad wings, covered in soft feathers, have been shaped by evolution for the quietest flight in the animal kingdom. The serrated edge of their feathers breaks up the airflow. The winged predator moves like a ghost, unheard, unseen, only felt. This skill, called stealth flight, results from three main adaptations: soft plumage that reduces noise, a flexible fringe on the wing's leading edge, and a trailing feather structure that scatters sound traces. This allows them to approach prey undetected while listening to every detail around them. Endowed with highly sensitive night vision, the owl can see in nearly total darkness. Their eyes do not rotate like ours. Instead, they turn their heads up to 270 degrees, as if sculpting the space around them with their gaze. Their eyes are tubular rather than spherical, adapted to capture as much light as possible. They have a high concentration of rod cells, the light-sensitive receptors of the retina, which drastically enhance low-light vision. And although they cannot move their eyes in the sockets, the neck's range compensates with almost surgical efficiency. But it is by sound that they hunt. The asymmetry of their ears allows them to pinpoint the exact origin of a faint noise, even under leaves, among roots, or beneath wet earth. One ear sits higher than the other, creating an auditory tilt that makes it possible to detect the direction and distance of sounds with extreme precision. During the breeding season, the forest witnesses another side of this precise hunter. The devoted mother. Nests, often hidden in tree cavities, shelter fragile chicks with large eyes and white down. They rely on the mother's instinct. She hunts, feeds, protects, teaches. Each return to the nest is a small ceremony of life's continuity. The forest does not exist on a single scale. There is a universe beneath our feet. A world where fallen branches are mountains, dry leaves become shelter, and a single drop of dew can be the beginning or the end of an entire journey. that microscopic environment, gravity feels different. Sound is muffled by the ground, yet amplified in every vibration. Humidity creates invisible trails. The wind does not blow, it drags. It is an ecosystem within the ecosystem. Complex, active, unceasing. Here, there are no majestic trees nor silent flights. There are tunnels, threads, fragile bridges. Invisible paths drawn by chemistry and instinct. Time moves faster. Distances are larger. The margin for error smaller. It is in this hidden setting that the true engineers of the night live. Discrete inhabitants that sustain the forest from the inside out. They do not roar, do not fly, do not sing. But they build, feel, decide. While in the heights, the owl's flight dominates the space. Under its watchful eyes, another universe awakens. More discreet, deeper, more collective. A few inches from the surface, among roots, moss, and fragments of wood, smaller lives work in silence. Lives that do not hunt, they build. By day, many hide from heat, light, and predators. But at night, they take over. Ants, the forest's tiny engineers, cross the darkness in long lines. Guided by invisible chemical trails. Each with a role. Each step part of a larger plan. Underground nests shelter complex societies with their own structures, food chambers, nurseries, and ventilation corridors. At night, the workers go out in search of resources. Guided by pheromones, they recognize paths, orient themselves, avoid danger, build and rebuild routes. An army without weapons. A collective brain in constant motion. While some cut leaves, others care for the young. There are shifts, specializations, constant adaptation. Night is time to stock up, to prepare the next day, to ensure that, even invisible, the colony stays alive. And invisibly essential to the whole ecosystem. In every task, a strategic role. Some species cultivate fungi inside the nest. Subterranean agriculture fed by precisely harvested leaf fragments. Others form defensive ranks around the colony, protecting the queen and eggs from nocturnal invaders. There are also scouts who venture far from the main trail. In search of new food sources. Their discoveries determine the fate of the entire colony. It is a distributed intelligence, a collective organism made of many bodies that breathe, work, and decide as one. And as on every nocturnal path, there are those who wait. Above the ground, suspended among branches, in the forest's silent folds, other architects weave their own empires. They do not move in groups. It is the hour of the spiders. If the night forest is a stage, then there are creatures that build their own scenery. Spiders, engineers of patience, wait without hurry. They weave with purpose, living among traps that are at once shelter, tool, and extension of their senses. Unlike many predators, spiders do not chase their prey. They create environments. Invisible lines between branches, leaves, and stones. Each strand contains special proteins sensitive to touch, capable of transmitting the slightest vibration with millimeter precision. Webs are not just traps, they are detection systems. Some vibrate at specific frequencies to attract mates. Others deceive prey with reflective patterns. And there are those that do not build. Ambush hunters camouflaged on the forest floor leap with force and venom before the target notices. With multiple eyes adapted to low light and extremely refined sensory legs, spiders perceive the world tactically, almost vibrationally. For them, the wind tells stories. Silence is information. Some care for the next generation with surprising devotion. They protect their eggs in silk sacks, guide the young in their first moments of life, until they are ready to leave and carve out their own territories. Not every night is made of silence. Sometimes it arrives heavy with clouds. The forest senses it even before the first drop. The air shifts. The smell of earth rises. Humidity slips through every crack, filling the space between leaves and roots. The drop in temperature, the rise in atmospheric pressure, and the condensation in the upper layers of the forest signal that rain is near. And then it rains. Nighttime precipitation, common in tropical regions, temporarily alters the ecosystem's dynamics. It raises the relative humidity of the air, hydrates the soil, reactivates networks of microorganisms, and triggers the release of volatile compounds by plants. Water does not interrupt the nightlight. It summons it. Each drop is a call, a reset of the cycle. For many organisms, rain is more than a weather event. It is a biological signal. It activates reproductive cycles, stimulates vocalizations, and opens pathways for the transport of spores, seeds, and nutrients. The forest, now soaked, amplifies sounds, turning the ground into a vibrating stage. What was once dry now pulses. And when the rain settles, other sounds arise. Low, rhythmic pulsing. Voices that do not come from above, but from very close to the ground. They are the singers of the wet. Children of water, guardians of the marsh. Frogs and toads announce that the night forest is ready for its next act. In the waterlogged forest, the sound that emerges is not just echo, it is purpose. With the arrival of rain, frogs and toads awaken. Amphibians with permeable skin and cutaneous respiration are extremely sensitive to moisture. It regulates their physiology, shapes their movements, and enables their reproduction. At night, with reduced heat and saturated ground, they find the ideal conditions to act. The croak, which to us sounds like song, is actually a territorial declaration and a reproductive call. Each species has a distinct call in frequency, rhythm, and intensity. And each sound, however simple it may seem, is the product of a complex system of vocal sacs, muscles, and pulmonary resonance. It is in the water gathered by the rain that everything happens. There, females choose their partners by the quality of the call. An indicator of strength, endurance, and genetics. Mating is swift. Eggs are deposited in the water, and within a few hours, the cycle of life begins again. Tadpoles hatch in a few days. They feed on algae and organic matter and grow rapidly. Many will never reach adulthood. Predators lurk at every corner. But still, the reproductive burst ensures the species' survival. Frogs and toads are efficient nocturnal hunters. They use low-light adapted vision, camouflaged skin, and a sticky tongue that projects in fractions of a second. They feed on insects, spiders, even small vertebrates. And by doing so, they keep ecological balance, controlling populations, moving energy, and connecting the terrestrial and aquatic worlds. Not every forest is made of dense shade. Amid the tangle of branches and trunks, there are openings. Natural clearings, created by fallen trees, ground movement, or even cycles of forest renewal. By day, these areas are floods of light and heat, but at night, they become silent chambers where the moon touches the ground. Temperature is lower, the air more still, and humidity slowly condenses on exposed vegetation. Plant species that inhabit clearings have developed specific adaptations to take advantage of this intermittent light. Many flowers open their petals only at night, guided by moonlight and accumulated moisture. Clearings act as portals between worlds. There, predators become visible. Pollinators become targets. But it is also where rare encounters happen, between light, scent, and beings, guided by senses that awaken only in the dark. And when the forest makes space, something always passes through. The night now readies the stage for new winged visitors, and the air begins to vibrate. Before it flies through the night, the moth lives on the ground. In its larval stage, it is pure hunger and transformation. A soft-bodied caterpillar adapted to consume large amounts of plant material. This is the beginning of the cycle, where survival depends on disguise and voracity. After weeks or months, depending on the species and the climate, the caterpillar encloses itself. Inside a cocoon or an exposed chrysalis, it breaks down to be reborn. Technically, the moth does not grow. It rebuilds itself. Its cells reorganize in a process called histogenesis, in which adult structures form from larval tissues. And when it finally opens its wings, it trades hunger for flight. The moth becomes nocturnal, and the dark is its native territory. There are more than 160,000 known species of moths in the world. Many of them are pollinators. With their long proboscises, they reach nectar hidden in night flowers. In return, they carry pollen between plants, ensuring the reproductive cycle of many plant species. Unlike butterflies, which rely on daytime vision, moths operate in the realm of scent. They are guided by pheromones, heat, and light, including artificial light, which often disorients them and interferes with their natural behaviors. Their bodies are covered in microscopic scales that, besides providing protection, aid in camouflage and thermal insulation. The antennae, highly specialized, function as odor receptors. Some moths can detect pheromones miles away. A sensory nose that determines encounters, evasions, and matings. With every flight, the moth stitches the forest together. It connects flowers, carries life, and perpetuates species that only bloom when the sun goes down. Not everything in the forest is firm or fixed. There are paths that do not trace themselves on the ground, but on the water. At night, the banks of rivers and streams take on a life of their own. They are borders where the land ends and the flow begins. The forest's hydrology governs more than what is seen. It influences local temperature, the air's humidity level, and the nutrient dynamics of the ecosystem. Small waterways, like creeks and shallow streams, function as vital circulation veins. Connecting forest zones, dispersing seeds, and transporting organic matter. During the night, water temperature tends to equalize with the environment, creating microclimates that attract a variety of species, adapted to constant darkness and moisture. Even in the dark, the water does not sleep. It carries traces of the forest, fragments, smells, sounds. And it draws those that hunt, those that drink, those that live between rock and current. The banks are zones of transition and tension. Unstable, yet fertile soil. Constant moisture, yet full of traps. It is where many come, by instinct, by survival, by need. And where the forest watches, reflected in the water's mirror. When the forest falls asleep, the riverbed continues to pulse. Beneath the surface, in a world without voices or leaves, the night also has its hunters and its secrets. Many nocturnal fish do not rely on sight. Their senses have been shaped to decipher the dark. Highly sensitive lateral lines detect the slightest vibrations in the water. Changes in current, prey movements, approaching predators. Some develop a refined sense of smell. Others, electroreception. The ability to sense electrical impulses emitted by living organisms. These are silent, but precise strategies. These mechanisms are common in groups like catfish and electric fish, adapted to low visibility environments. Many of these fish have dark or reduced pigmentation, minimizing visual exposure. Others living in turbid waters have small or atrophied eyes, prioritizing chemical and tactile senses. Some scour the bottom for larvae and worms. Others patrol the midwater column. Some rise to the surface, attracted by fallen insects or inattentive prey. Night is the time of opportunity for those who know where to look. Feeding can be opportunistic or specialized. Some species consume only organic detritus, acting as detritivores and recycling dead matter. Insectivores and piscivores hunt actively, using quick ambushes or techniques like suction, light lures, or even electric discharges to stun prey. Diet varies by species and habitat. There are filter feeders, predators, scavengers. Together, they maintain the ecological balance of waterways, cleaning debris, controlling insect populations, and dispersing nutrients for miles. The reproduction of many tropical fish is also influenced by nightly cycles and rainfall patterns. At night, hormonal activity increases. And mating behaviors, such as aquatic dances, nest excavation, or synchronized gamete release, intensify. Dark waters serve as shelter and protection for eggs and fry, hiding them from daytime predators. While human eyes see only reflections, the submerged world of the night forest lives in full activity. And the fish, invisible to most, continue their ancient work, sustaining the chain of life at the bottom of the dark water. Among the fish that patrol the submerged darkness, there is another kind of presence. It does not move often. It does not seek. It waits. The gaze of the night is also underwater. And sometimes it floats without being noticed. Caimans and crocodiles, masters of stillness, are ancestral predators that have turned wading into an art. Their bodies remain almost invisible in shallow water. Only their eyes and nostrils emerge, allowing them to see and breathe without revealing themselves. During the night, they become even more active. Mild temperatures favor hunting, and the behavior of prey, more distracted and vulnerable, offers opportunities. With sharp senses and night-adapted vision, they locate birds, mammals, fish, and even reptiles that approach the banks. The ocular structure of crocodilians is equipped with a nictitating membrane, a translucent third eyelid that protects the eyes from debris and allows vision underwater. Their vertical pupils dilate widely at night, optimizing light capture in dark environments. Females build nests from leaves and mud, tending eggs with meticulous care. When the young hatch, they are guided to the water and protected for weeks. An unexpected dedication from a predator with such a fearsome reputation. Caimans and crocodiles do not rush time. They wait, they watch. And when they act, it is because the moment was chosen with precision. In the night forest, the greatest danger is what does not move. Above the forest, there is another universe that few perceive. A ceiling of calm and faint light that changes shape every night. The sky above the forest is not just scenery, it is rhythm. It is an invisible clock that commands behavior, awakens cycles, and guides even those that cannot see it. The lunar cycle, which lasts about 29.5 days, influences more than the tides. For many animals, the amount of moonlight reflected determines when to hunt, call, or hide. On full moon nights, predators become more cautious. The brightness increases exposure. Prey withdraw. Sounds diminish. During waning phases, darkness becomes an ally. the forest plunges into deep shadows, and behavior changes completely. Some spiders increase activity on dark nights. Owls and felines adjust their hunting strategies. The entire forest responds to a constant cycle, printed in the sky since the dawn of time. And beyond the moon, there is the firmament. Ancient constellations that old peoples use to mark seasons, predict rains, and guide routes. Even today, certain bird and insect species orient themselves by the stars. A process called celestial navigation. The forest, even when it seems closed, connects to the infinite. Looking at the sky is to remember that the forest is not alone, that what happens above is mirrored below, in the sap, in the call, in the wait, and that, even on the quietest nights, the forest and the sky remain in dialogue. While the sky offers its dance of stars and phases, the forest, in response, lights its own lamps. On nights when the moon hides, it is the ground that glows. Small signals blink among leaves, roots, and low branches. As if the woods drew their own constellations. They are not stars. They are messages, signs of life that emerge in the dark. They are the fireflies. Fireflies, or lampierids, are bioluminescent beetles. They produce cold light, without heat, through a controlled chemical reaction between enzymes, oxygen, and adenosine triphosphate, the cell's energy molecule. This light is incredibly efficient. More than 90% of the energy is converted directly into glow. Each species has a unique flashing pattern, a visual identification code. These sequences of light enable communication between males and females during the breeding season. A language built in flashes. Some species flash in perfect synchrony, creating true spectacles of coordinated light. Others keep an individual pattern, like a signature. On recognizing the right rhythm, the male approaches. The female, motionless, responds with a soft glow. It is a ritual of courtship, without sound, without touch, only light. Beyond reproduction, bioluminescence also serves as a defense mechanism. The glow can signal toxicity to predators or confuse a nocturnal hunter's visual perception. Larvae and eggs of some species also emit light. A continuous miniature warning. From the ground to the forest sky, these small points of light connect generations. They live briefly, sometimes only a single season. But in that short time, they sketch messages in the night, attract light, ward off danger, and spark questions. They glow to be seen, and by doing so, they make the forest more than shadow and sound. While the ground lights blink their last messages, the night sky opens for other flights. Some shine with their own light. Others fly unseen, guided not by light, but by sound. Among the first to leave the night stage, bats are the discreet lords of the dark. With more than 1,400 known species, they make up the second largest group of mammals on the planet, second only to rodents. Their adaptations go far beyond flight. They navigate nocturnal labyrinths with a biological radar called echolocation. Emitting high-pitched sounds that bounce off obstacles and return as a three-dimensional map of the environment. Most species are insectivorous and can consume up to half their body weight in a single night. A single bat can devour hundreds of mosquitoes in a few hours. Others, like the philostimids, feed on fruit, nectar, small vertebrates, and even blood. Each feeding habit comes with anatomical specializations. Long snouts to lap nectar, powerful jaws to crush fruit, or sharp teeth for precise cuts in the skin of large mammals. Even the feared hematophagous bats, which feed on blood, play an important ecological role in population control and in medical studies because of their anticoagulant saliva. Frugivores and nectarivores are the forest's invisible allies. They disperse seeds, pollinate flowers, and connect distant trees through flight. Without them, many plant species would lose their regeneration routes. As light advances, their activity ceases. Brightness threatens their safety. Visual predators awaken, and bodies adapted to darkness require rest. They return to shelters, tree cavities, humid caves, folded leaves, abandoned structures. Places chosen for temperature, protection, and quiet. There, they remain in colonies or alone, regulating metabolism, reducing energy expenditure, and waiting for the next night cycle. They arrived with the shadow and leave with the cool morning wind. As the day unfolds like a flower, the bats fold their wings, and with them, the night's secret. Night does not end. It only withdraws. It closes its dark eyes, curls up on branches, on roots, on wings, and dissolves into the mist rising from the ground. What moved now rests. What shone now goes out. The forest, which was a stage for hidden voices, returns to its other time, the one where light takes the lead, but never completely. Day approaches slowly. Brightness grows, pushing darkness back into shelters, as if returning the key to a borrowed territory. Night leaves traces. Footprints, sounds that no one heard, movements no one saw. It passes, but it touches everything. With its lack of light, it reveals presences. And tomorrow, when everything darkens again, it will return.